Hey everyone, welcome to part two of building a ChatGPT front end using Angular. So in this lesson, we're just going to go through the process of installing Angular. If you already have Angular installed, then you're good to go. Now, in order to install Angular, there's going to be four things that we're going to need, or actually it's three things that has four parts. So the first thing we need is an IDE, and I like to use Visual Studio Code for Angular. Almost everybody I know uses Visual Studio Code. Now, if you already went through the Python part of this project where we use Fast API to build the Python, the API in Python using the ChatGPT API, you notice that we used PyCharm. The reason I like to do that is I like to have my Python in one piece of code in my Python and PyCharm and my Angular in Visual Studio Code. So you will see that soon enough. Now the next thing we need is Node.js, and that is Node.js that comes with the Node Package Manager. So anytime you're doing an NPM, like an NPM install, you're using Node.js and the Node Package Manager. And then the last thing we install is the Angular command line interface. So we're going to install that at the terminal. So the first thing we want to do is get Visual Studio Code, and we do that at code.visualstudio.com. Okay, so I'm over here in my browser, and we go to https code.visualstudio.com. This page changes fairly regularly, so this is what it looks like today in October of 2023 when I'm recording this. Now, when you go to this page, it is going to detect what platform you're on. It knows that I am on a Mac, so it is asking me if I want to download the Mac Universal Stable Build. I can also go up here to the download button. If I go up here to the download button, it is going to ask me if I want to be on the Intel chip or the Apple Silicon. If I'm doing Windows, Windows 10 and 11 are together, and if I'm using Linux, I've got my options over here. So what I would do for Apple Silicon is I would just click on the CLI, and it is going to download it for me. And I'm not going to walk through the process of installing it because I already have it installed, but it is a very straightforward installation. Okay, now that we've got Visual Studio Code installed, we want to go to the next thing, which is Node.js. And we're going to do that by going to nodejs.org and then go to the download section to download it. Okay, so I'm going to open up another browser tab. If I can get my taskbar out of the way. So I'm going to go to another browser tab, and I'm going to open up nodejs.org. Okay, so what I want to do is, again, it has detected that I'm on Mac OS, and the latest version is 18.8.1, which is recommended for most users. So I'm going to click on the download, and I think I'm running a very old version. I'm running version 16. So in this case, I'm going to actually do the install. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to open up, and then I am going to open 18.1. All right, so it's asking me how do I want to install it. So I am going to say, I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to continue again. I'm going to agree to the terms, and then I am going to just install. On the default location, it's going to ask me for my password. Okay, so now I am upgrading my Node.js to 18.18. Okay, so and it also it installed 18.18.1, and it also installed version 9.81 of Node Package Management. Okay, now that we have Node.js and NPM installed, we're going to go and we are going to install the Angular command line interface, and we're going to do that from a terminal. And we're going to do that using npm install -g for global and then at Angular CLI. And that will install Angular for us. Okay, so we're going to do this last step, and we're going to do it from inside of Visual Studio Code. So I've launched VS Code, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up a terminal. And so I'm installing it using the npm command. So I'm going to say npm install -g for global, and that at Angular CLI. Now, there's a good chance, a really good chance, that I already have it installed. Um, in this case, I do not have the permissions to install Angular CLI. So I'm going to do it as a sudo, which I'm pretty sure that's not going to work. Oh, it let me. Okay, so now I'm going to do an npm, or I'm going to do an ng minus v, or actually I'm going to do an ng v for version. Okay, so as soon as I did an ng, now ng is the main command. Pretty much everything you do in Angular starts at the Angular CLI starts with the ng. So in this case, I did an ng space version, and it told me that my Angular CLI version is 16.2.6. So that's perfect. That's exactly where I want to be. That's the latest version. So now that we have everything installed for Angular, in our next lesson, we're going to get started with the Hello World application.